results of the Trump administration gutting the Civil Rights Office in the Department of Education, staffers are so struggling to deal with the backlog of cases, a handful of fired attorneys have been called back to work. The DOE's Civil Rights Office is largely seen as a last resort for families dealing with discrimination complaints. CNN's Senlin Sarfati is in Washington looking at this story. What are you hearing from these attorneys who have been brought back after being fired?
Yeah, Sarah, these attorneys really say that this move is a tacit admission on the part of the administration that they simply went too far with the devastating staff cuts within the Department of Education, and specifically at this agency, OCR. This was one of the hardest hit offices within the Department of Education. They lost nearly 80% of their staff under the DOGE cut earlier this year. And now these attorneys are saying that they simply cannot keep up with the workload with such a skeleton staff. I spoke with many lawyers within the agency, and they really describe dire circumstances. A feeling, one told me, that they wouldn't even trust this agency with their own children. And this is an agency that deals with discrimination against students in schools, discrimination based on disability, race, age, sex. So important work here being done. A longtime lawyer in the office saying, quote, "It's a black hole. There's no staffing. There's no rhyme or reason to what they're doing. And there's not a mission to actually effectuate civil rights laws." Now, notably, backlogs at OCR within this department, it's very typical for many administrations. But when you look at the numbers, it shows a heavy uptick in the backlog under the Trump administration. A source within the agency telling me about 24,000 complaints in the Office of Civil Rights remain unresolved as of this week, compared to 16,500 cases pending at the end of the Biden administration. And Sarah, for every number here, it's a student behind these cases that are before this agency. Students, lawyers tell me, that are waiting are a disabled student who wasn't allowed to go on a field trip because the school said they could not accommodate her disability. A girl who said she's been forced to go to a class with another student who have been accused of sexual harassment against her. So for all these backlogs, there are students waiting. A lawyer saying, "I saw hundreds of cases that nobody is working on." Now, the Office of Civil Rights says that the move to bring back this staff is temporary, and at least in part to get rid of and tackle this backlog that has been mounting for months and months this year. Sarah?